Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of NB Bassin. I am your host, Donald Patterson, here again for another week after, in my opinion, well-deserved week off, but maybe you guys see it differently. But either way, I took a week off and excited to get back into the swing of things with the show and with a lot of other stuff going on here in New Brunswick fishing right now. Even though I took a week off from doing the show, it's been a hectic 2 weeks. So before I get into that, let's start as I always do with saying thank you to the people and the companies that help make this possible. Fish Bum Outfitters, Carrot Sticks Rods, Southern Yankee Baits, War Dog Lures, Northern Michigan Outfitters, Hooked on Canadian Angling, and most importantly, my wife and my son. Without the support of especially my wife and my son, doing what I do gets a whole lot harder. So, as I said, it has been a hectic couple weeks. June 25th, the 5th annual Fishing for Memories tournament. And then this past Saturday, July the 2nd, was the annual New Brunswick Sport Fishing Association Kids Tournament based out of Oromocto. And I must say that those two events are probably the two most gratifying events I get to participate in. This was only my second year participating in the NBSFA Kids Tournament. First year doing it as a volunteer. Last year my son was there and we fished. This year he was away visiting his grandparents, so I decided to go up and spend some time volunteering, and so got to see that tournament from a little bit different point of view. Before we get into that, let's back it up to June 25th, the 5th annual Fishing for Memories tournament. What to say about Fishing for Memories? As you folks have heard me speak about in the past, a very near and dear subject to me, being as, myself, my wife, and a couple of our friends, Jason and Cindy, are basically the folks that created this event and have kept it going. This one's pretty personal. And when we started it the very first year, 52 participants in the rain, I was ecstatic. I really was. Nice little charity tournament, raised $1,500. The Alzheimer's Society was happy. I was ecstatic. Everything looked good. And year two, it exploded from 52 to 162. And we were left standing with our mouths open, utterly exhausted, tired, and sore. And then years 3 and 4, we leveled off and we stayed steady at 150 anglers for 2 years. It's like, okay, well, maybe we've hit that plateau and this is the ballpark that we're going to be in. Well, going into this year, we decided to change things a little bit. We did away with our early bird registration format. We found it was just a little too awkward to manage the day of the tournament, because some people had paid, some hadn't, getting everybody checked in. It's just, okay, let's wipe the slate clean. Everybody shows up owing the same amount of money. Well, that worked. Check-in, registration, everything went smooth. And as the morning progressed, it's like the lineup's not getting any smaller. There's still a line. There's still a line. And checking in with the registration sheets and seeing what's there, all of a sudden we need to photocopy more sheets, make more registration sheets. So we made more registration sheets. Luckily, we had a generator and a printer right on the spot, and we were able to photocopy more sheets. When it was all said and done, and we hit the horn to blast everybody off, 185 anglers were on the St. John River in boats of every shape and size, from kayaks to bass boats, pontoon boats, big cuddy, cruisers, pretty much anything and everything. And everybody went out and had a blast. 185 anglers. To my knowledge, and if somebody thinks that I'm wrong or knows that I'm wrong, and they want to correct me, I'm all for it. If there is something, if my information isn't correct, please, please send me a message on the Facebook page, the NB Bassin Facebook page, or email me at nbbassin@gmail.com. But to my knowledge, Fishing for Memories is the largest single day fishing tournament in the province of New Brunswick. The Miramichi Striper Cup obviously is a multi-day tournament, and it makes us look small. But to my knowledge, the Fishing for Memories Charity Pickerel Tournament is the largest single-day fishing tournament in the province of New Brunswick. That being said, we have raised, in the 5 years since our foundation, since we founded the event, we have raised over $20,000 for the Alzheimer's Society of New Brunswick. So it's just, as I said, one of the most gratifying things I've ever been involved in. We're 5 years in, looking at what the future holds. You know, the same as anything, things change every year. Events progress, develop. There's always changes being made. But for now, we're still kind of basking in the glow of year number 5. And very impressed with our volunteers. My wife, Lanny, my tournament partner, Jason, his wife, Cindy, my friend and co-worker, Wade, Tina Blair, who has fished it in the past. Her husband and daughter still fish, or her daughter, you know, they still fished again this year. Her family fished again this year. She opted to stay on shore and help us out. I apologize if I get this lady's name wrong, but I believe it was Linda, who has helped us out this year and last year with our barbecue later in the day. Without those volunteers, the event just doesn't happen. All our sponsors, who, like I've said previously, I can't name them all. I could fill a half-hour show just sitting reading a list. So I probably shouldn't start even trying to name any. But they, without the sponsors, once again, the event doesn't happen. And our anglers. I wish, with 185 people there was no way for me to get around and shake everybody's hand individually and thank everybody personally. But rest assured, folks, I've read the names. I've read every list of every registration list. I know all the names. And if I could, I'd thank each one of you personally for coming out and supporting our event. Because without our participants, without our anglers, we just have a bunch of us sitting around on the wharf waiting for someone to show up. So thank you to our anglers as well. It's a very humbling and very gratifying thing to be involved in. So looking forward to what the future has to hold. But for now, I'm just going to keep thinking about what year 5 was like and keep a smile on my face. Now, July 2nd, New Brunswick Sport Fishing Association Kids Tournament. Well, as I said, my young fellow was away. He wasn't going to be there to fish it. So I said, I'll go up. And my wife was working. I'll go spend some time at the tournament, help the kids out, help the association out. I'm on the board of directors, so it's only fitting that I volunteer some of my time and help out. I woke up Saturday morning to absolute torrential rain. It was wild. Water everywhere. And I said, I'm going. I know they're not going to cancel it, so I'm going. So I got in my truck and I drove the hour and a little bit from home to Oromocto. The highway was terrible in places. Water laying everywhere. Vehicles hydroplaning. It got messy. When I landed in Oromocto, I see some of our tournament anglers with their families. I'm like, okay, that's understandable. You know, they're prepared for it. They are tournament anglers. They know how to prepare for bad weather on the water. Well, then I start seeing faces I don't recognize and boats I don't recognize. And I'm thinking, maybe this won't be so bad after all. The rain eased up. Actually, basically stopped right around 8 o'clock as everybody was leaving. And yes, the numbers were down significantly from last year when we had a beautiful, beautiful day out on the water. From, it's a short day for where it's for the kids. It's only 4 hours, 8 a.m. till noon. Last year, I think we had in the vicinity of 80 kids on the water. Well, this year we had right around 40. And considering the weather, I thought it was great. I really did think it was great. The excuse me. The fishing must have been better than the day before, because I was out the day before and couldn't get a bite. And we had some kids bringing in some really, really nice fish. If you check out NBSFA, at NBSFA on Periscope, you can see a video of part of the measurement process. We don't weigh for the kids. We just do it all by length. And 3 categories: smallmouth bass, chain pickerel, perch. And we did a Periscope broadcast, a part of the measurement procedure. So if you want to go on and check out, and you will see some of the fish these kids were bringing in. And if this is my competition in years to come, I'm going to get my butt kicked. Big fish, big smiles. A lot of happy kids. We had a couple individuals show up that didn't have access to a boat. One of our members was able to accommodate one family, take them out. I hadn't taken my boat with me, but we had another gentleman and a young lad of, I believe, 8 years old show up and wanted to fish, so I went down on the dock with them and got them all set up and got them fishing. And when it was all said and done, the gentleman came to me at the end of the day and shook my hand and thanked me for my help. And the young fella standing there with his 3rd place trophy from the perch category with a big smile on his face, and they said they'd be back next year. So that made every minute of my day, driving up in the rain and getting wet first thing in the morning, that made every minute of it worthwhile. To see the smile on that boy's face and to hear the words, "We'll be back next year." Because that means we did something right. So I really can't ask for any more than that. Just like that. These 15-minute segments are going to be hard to get used to. I'm going to have to start watching the clock a little bit closer. Before I wrap up this segment, I have to mention my buddy Cliff Van Kempen, One More Cast Show, or look him up on Facebook at the One More Cast Show, or the Bass Fishing Ninja, and find his show. The last 2 weeks, Cliff does the One More Cast Show, and the last 2 weeks have been segments of an interview he and I did earlier this spring. He's been able to get it edited and put together and put on air. So go check Cliff out. As I said, the Bass Fishing Ninja or the One More Cast Show. Check him out and give his show a listen to, because a little bit different perspective from Ontario than what I have here in New Brunswick, but definitely some great information nonetheless. So shout out to you, Cliff. Go give him a listen, folks. I'm going to wrap up this segment. Like I said, if my evening goes well enough, segment number 2 will be out later tonight. If not, segment number 2 will be out tomorrow morning. Once again, thank you to Fish Bomb Outfitters, Carrot Stick Rods, Southern Yankee Baits, War Dog Lures, Northern Michigan Outfitters, Hooked on Canadian Angling, and my wife and my son. Without all of you, my life gets a whole lot harder. Thanks to my tournament partner, Jason. Thanks again to Cliff for having me on his show. And thank you all for listening. I hope this new format works well for, for everybody. I definitely think it's going to work well for me. So hopefully I'm able to bring you a better quality program. I am going to have to start deleting some shows. So if there's some old stuff out there, jump on Spreaker and download the old shows before I have to delete them here in the next week or two. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll speak to you soon. Set the hook and keep those lines tight.